Well, I decided to put this in the very beginning of this. I'm going to make an attempt to put some still frames at the very end of this video. I'm not great at editing, but at the very end, I'm going to try to put some still frame pictures up of my truck picking up the mill sitting here, taking it off the truck. So they'll either be there or they won't. And enjoy the video. Hello, everybody. Anybody new to my videos, my name is Jeff. Welcome to my little machine shop here. I'm a tool maker, and today we're going to do the review on the PM-30 back here. I'm going to tell you right now, I love that mill. I love it. I'm having seller's remorse right now. I have a deposit on this mill. Young man, great young man. He's been working with me on this since day one, because we've been, since the corona hit, the back order situation in this industry has been terrible. But it is what it is. There's not a whole lot that can be done about it, but it is now starting to catch back up. The newer mill that I originally wanted when I bought this, I did not seek to purchase a PM-30. I wanted the bigger, I believe it was a 932 and a 940 variable speeds. There were the mills that I had my eyes set on. Anybody new to my videos, I'm terminally ill. I have pulmonary fibrosis. And that's what you're seeing right now. I have a breathing problem. I'm supposed to get a double lung transplant. Well, I'm not supposed to. I'm hoping to get a double lung transplant by the end of this summer. Transplants aren't afforded to everybody. Yeah, no, I don't even want to get into thinking about that right now. Let's get off of that. But anyways, I'm terminally ill, and I have a hard time breathing, and a lot of the symptoms come up in these videos. I try to hide it, but I can't. But anyways, let's get on to this mill. So originally, I wanted a bigger mill. Couldn't do the weight. I had work. I always got work that needs to be done when these machines are ordered, and I'm getting them. There's jobs waiting on them. So originally, when I built this building, I talked a little bit about in the review of the lathe. I built this building just to have a place to work. I was working full-time for the motorcycle dealership here, local. Big dealership, all manufacturers. This is a big dealership. They move a lot of motorcycles and ATVs and side-by-sides, and the power sports equipment just rolls out of this place. And I was there full-time, so I put this building in. I bought a little PM-25 just to have something to do stuff on. And back then I was at the end of racing. I was starting to have breathing issues. And in 2017 or 18, I was at the road racing track down here, our local track, and I couldn't turn laps. I was having a hard time getting a breath. So it started back in 2018. I started noticing I couldn't get a breath. I couldn't stay on the motorcycle. So basically, my 2016 Yamaha R1 Superbike sat here. I had a little lathe, and I bought a PM-25. And when I purchased that PM-25, that's when I saw how the quality of Precision Mathews machines were just up here compared to the so-called Grizzlies. You cannot compare a PM-25, a little PM-25 mill, to the comparable Grizzly mill. The PM-25 is just heads and shoulders above it. Literally that much difference in the quality. There is no mistaking the mill you should buy. If you are going to buy a small mill in that category, save your money, get a PM-25. Don't even consider getting a Grizzly for any reason whatsoever. You will not be happy with it. I had one some years back. It was one of those ones I just want to throw it in a dumpster. So this started with a PM-25. And at this point, I'm getting so much work, I have to upgrade my machinery. So the lathe and a bigger mill were we're going to have to happen. But again, I wanted a 932, I believe it's a 940. Right in that area was the size mills where I wanted to be. But the back order was long. I couldn't wait. And I just got lucky. They had PM-30s in stock with the dro. And I went ahead and said, okay, well, the mill weighs 530 pounds. It has enough weight to do the kind of capacity of the jobs that I regularly see. And I can say that's absolutely been the case since the day I bought both these machines. I've never had a capacity issue. I understood capacity and understood exactly the type of work I would be seeing. And this mill would cut it with no question. No problem, this mill would handle it. 2 horsepower, got plenty of power. It's got it's belt drive, quiet as can be, just smooth as glass. So anyways, I did the same thing. I wrote down some things. We're going to start at the very beginning. The day I went out to Pittsburgh and picked it up. I live in Baltimore City. I've lived in northern Maryland, Carroll County, right below Gettysburg for many, many, many years. My parents ran an airport up in Carroll County. I grew up in the airport business. So aviation was in my blood the day I was born. Here, I'll show you something real quick, give you an idea. So let me unplug that, unplug this real quick. So here's a picture of my dad at the S2B Pit Special. I took that photo, I'm going to say the beginning of the summer of 1990. This is my dad, I'm going to say about 1975, 1976, at the decathlon. He's doing an inverted pass down the runway. And this is my dad in that same S2B Pit Special. This is me. This is my brother, and of course, Pop. My father was killed 2 weeks after this picture was taken in that aircraft at an airport called Martin State down here in southern Baltimore. Actually, it's not very far from where I'm at right now. But my dad was killed in an air show in that airplane. And but anyways, my whole history is aviation, motorcycles. And I was when I ended up into tool making, there was a gentleman that had learned to fly at our airport in Carroll County, Maryland. Carroll County Airport, Jack B. Pope Field today. And this man was a general manager of one of the EG&G companies, or subsidiaries. And I was pretty much recruited in. My background had everything to do with it. And I became a tool maker. And I did it in a company, again, EG&G is where I started my career. And there's been many things since. Excuse me. So anyways, my whole background is what you're seeing. So let's get on to this PM-30. I want to kind of move it into the better position here so you can see it. It's a fantastic little mill. There I am with that thumb button again. Anybody watching my videos knows I'm not very good with a thumb button on this camera. So anyways, I got it set up with an indexing fixture in it right now. I'm doing a series, video series, and that's the project I'm working on right there. And I'm ready to do some work on this project that requires an indexing fixture. So that was just roughly set up yesterday. The tailstock's not exactly indicated imperfect. I'm zeroed in there. That part is zeroed flat. All the axes are zero. So, but I'm not happy with how tailstock's sitting. So it's just sitting there right now. Still got some work to do. This is part 11 on that video series. So anyways, let's get busy on this mill. So the day I bought it, I did the same thing. I drove out to Pittsburgh. Like I said, I live here in Baltimore. It's about a 4-hour drive out. I'm always impatient. And on top, I have jobs to do, so I look at it as not losing 3 or 4 days in shipping, waiting for it to get here. And it's that fast from Pittsburgh. It's only a couple days. But again, at that point, I was working part-time at the dealership, Friday and Saturdays only. So I had time. So I jumped in my truck, and I drove out to Pittsburgh and picked this mill up. So that was my second trip out to Pittsburgh at the Precision Mathews. And again, the same thing occurred. Very nice people. Same great facility. They loaded that mill for me, and off I came home with it. But this time I didn't put it in a trailer. I put it in the back bed of my truck. I had a 2017 Toyota TRD Sport long bed 4-door. So actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put a picture in this video of that truck sitting at a rest area with this big crate in the back of it. So I picked it up and I brought it home. So I back it up to the doors here, and now this truck is lifted. I believe it had 33-inch tires on it and a 2-inch lift. So it was sat a little high. I had just enough room with the chain hoist and my engine hoist that I have a steel beam I got out of jet ski crates that I put up in the roof here, and it'll hold well over 1,000 pounds. So I put it across the door, I backed the truck in, I put my chain hoist to it, I grabbed the mill, and I just pick it up. I can only get it off the bed by maybe 2 inches. That's how close this was. You know, we'll look at the door here real quick. That door right there. So the beam ran across the very top, and I just had enough room to get that mill up, just enough so I could pull the truck out. I put a dolly on the floor. I lowered the mill onto the dolly, and I got pictures of all this, so maybe I'll edit some stills in here and show you the mill sitting here on the floor and all. But anyways, that was that. I got it in here, and this was much easier to set up than the lathe, of course, you know. And we got her set up. The first thing I ran into, and I said this in the lathe video, anytime you buy machines have bugs in them. They have to break in. This is common with machinery. I've been doing this my whole life, and I can tell you right now, machinery, this is the way it goes. And so anyways, I get the mill set up, bolted down, leveled, and I've had my collets that you see right there, and I've had those collets for years. So I've used them in multiple different machines. And the first thing I ran into is I couldn't get my RA collets to go up into the spindle. At first, I thought it had the wrong taper in the spindle. Yeah, I thought it had an MT3 taper. I believe they have models with MT3 tapers. And I thought it had the wrong spindle in it. So, but anyways, like my fly cutters and stuff. Here, let me show you real quick. So down here, I mean, I love the stand setup. It can be a little noisy and vibrate, but let's take a look at this real quick. I'll show you what's in there. So this is the stuff I have here. But like that fly cutter right there, my slitting saw arbors, and my drill chuck, some of those went right up inside that taper, that in the spindle with no problems. But these collets right here, I'll pull a couple and you can see where I had to work the ends of them. Yeah, you can see right there where I worked them. So none of these collets would draw up into the taper of the spindle. I immediately thought, oh no, here we go again. But I always expected to be some sort of issue with a brand new machine out of the crate. And this one didn't do anything differently. But the only thing was, I got on the phone with Precision Mathews, and there were 3 things that were, yeah, and I wrote them. There's 1, 2, and 3. So these 3 things right here were the very only things that I had issues with. And not one thing shut the mill down. I was able to use it immediately. Just had to figure out how bad the taper was inside. And basically what it amounted to, all I did was take some light sandpaper, and I started working my collets, and they started going up in. So the taper wasn't terrible. It was almost right, but still we had a problem. And Precision Mathews said, yeah, they had a couple machines that they knew about this, and they said you can clean it up. It should be okay. You should be able to work it, but we'll get you a new spindle. Sure enough, we were able to get everything to work with a little elbow grease. And before I knew it, well, it wasn't before I knew it. I went right to work on the machine, getting it set up, figuring out what I had to do to it to get it super accurate, cutting parallel and flat, because column mills always have to be worked a little bit and finely tuned to get them to cut parallel and flat. And anyways, we worked the collis. We got that working. So they sent me a new spindle. I got it sometime later, and that was that. That problem was overcome and solved. So we had okay, our lead screw on the Z on the column. It has an insane amount of backlash in it, and to this day, it is. I've never even mentioned it to Precision Mathews. Personally, I don't think they would warranty it. I think they would say that's just the way that is. But anyways, there's quite a bit of backlash in the Z. It does not affect it. I believe it's about 60 thousandths. And being that there's a Dro, a glass scale on that Z, I use it all the time. I have no problems with it whatsoever. I don't like the backlash, but it's there. A lot of times when I get the handle up here, up on the top position, just the weight of the handle will fall is 60 thousandths. So it's over a half a revolution of slop in it, in that handle. It'll fall. So that's really about the only issue I've had there. And again, I've never even mentioned the Precision Mathews. But there is some sort of issue there with some sloppiness in the Z. The table lock. One of these table locks on the Y was gone. It wasn't even in the crate. It wasn't in it at all, and it wasn't in the machine. And they sent me a new table lock, and they sent me a new spindle. And that was that. That was all the issues I had with it. Now, when I went to start fine-tuning my machinery, because I need my machines to cut dead flat. On this video series I'm doing, I believe it's part 2, and I'm going to say, watch that video. You will see how flat this machine cuts, and it took some elbow grease to get it to do this. The machine was damn good right out of the crate, but it wasn't as good as I have it now. I can cut within a half a thousandths. This is a block, square to 4/10,000ths of an inch on that mill. I did a video, one of my very first videos I did was making this block. It got no views whatsoever. Nobody watched it. It was a terrible video. It was one of my first ones. It was terrible, I admit it. But I show you how to square the 4/10,000ths of an inch in that video. I ended up deleting a bunch of videos that weren't doing very well. So none of those videos are up anymore. But I still have this block. That's 4/10,000ths of an inch right there. But on this particular project that's in the mill right now, I square an 11-inch long piece of aluminum up to under half a thou in six dimensions on multiple sides. I believe that's part 2 in this video series. You can watch that. I measure them in the video with micrometers and prove it. So over an 11-inch long piece, I can hold half a thousandths tolerance on this mill, flat and parallel. I prove it. I had another video in which I took this block and I took a piece that I did in my lathe and I put them together, and then I checked the parallelism of 2 pieces stacked on top of each other, and they were dead zero. And so I had done videos on this stuff, but nobody looked at them. So I just went ahead and got rid of them, and I just decided to stay the course in a specific type of video. And that's what I basically have been doing ever since. But anyways, this mill had very few problems. I ended up having to do a lot of stoning of the table, and this is how I bring my mills in. All the gibs had high and low spots all through them. So I I stoned everything in nice and pretty. I shimmed the column, and I have an incredible tram on this machine. It is, like I said, I can cut within a half a thousandths within. I like to stay in a 10-inch, 11-inch envelope on the Y and the X. And in that area, I can cut extremely precision with precision accuracy. You start getting outside of that, these tables are long and are not fully supported. When you start getting outside that envelope, you're going to start seeing larger tolerances. You're going to have a harder time maintaining a half a thou in flatness and parallel. You might start seeing a thou, 1.5 thou, and we're not talking terrible stuff here. This is still well within aerospace tolerances. But anyways, I tend to like to stay in an envelope, and it's about a 10 to 11-inch envelope on the Y and the X on this machine, and I can cut well under half a thousandths, or right under a thousandths, pretty much on every operation. So Oh, oh. Anyways, it took a lot of stoning of the Gibbs on the Z, the Gibbs on the X and the Y, and I have a machine that um, when I zero, say I got my Dro zero, I can tighten the locks on any axis, and that Dro don't move 2/10,000ths of an inch, and that's because of how well I stoned my dovetails and my Gibbs in, and then trammed it in real good. Now this mill, the head goes 90 degrees left and right, and that follows the x-axis, but on the y-axis and the Z, you have to work on the column base. You got to shim it. You got to do something to get that tram zero there, and that's to get a full circumference where your tram is zero everywhere. And I have that on this mill. I'm under 1,000ths everywhere, but I'll get about 1,000ths, and that's where it's been since I did the work on it and tuned it in. But anyways, this mill is extremely quiet, extremely smooth running, has plenty of power. The number one thing that this mill is going to protest about is dull end mills. This mill loves sharp carbide high-speed steel end mills, brand new sharp end mills. As soon as an end mill starts to dull, this machine will protest. It's going to vibrate. It's going to make noise. Sharp end mills pretty much solve that every single time. This has been a fantastic mill to me. I have nothing bad to say about it whatsoever. Both these machines are excellent. The little PM-30 here is extremely accurate. It has plenty of power. It's got plenty of weight for the capacity in which I work. I've never once had a job that I couldn't do on this mill accurately. And there's not a whole lot to say about it, really. So anyways, let's see, love the sharp end mills. The Dro on this mill is extremely accurate. If I bought that lathe today, I would buy it with their Dro installed already. All right, so that is definitely a lesson learned here in Precision Mathews. I put that Dro on myself on the lathe, and it works it's excellent. But I love this Dro, this LCD Dro. I just love it, and I'm actually considering buying an aftermarket LCD to put on the lathe just because I now am in love with these Dros. But the Dro on this mill is fantastic. Again, this is aerospace precision accuracy I can do on this mill all day long, and that Dro makes that possible. Oh, power on both steps is beautiful, smooth, super quiet belt drive. The stand has some weakness to it. This mill, and you can see it in many videos when I'm turning handles, and I'll be turning them after I've done work. If I'm actually cutting, I don't just spin handles, but you'll see the machine moving. Down here with the legs attached to the stand, let me take a better look at this. Okay, right here, this sheet metal is extremely thin, so the sheet metal flexes. So you're spinning handles or what have you, and the sides of the stand are doing this, and the machine's moving. It's a couple months ago I was going to get some steel and reinforce those right down there, and I haven't done it. I just turned softly, so it's not moving all over the place, and it doesn't affect the accuracy. So I haven't messed with it, but that is a problem with that stand, and I'm not going to do anything but be totally honest on this, is like I was the lathe. The stand's not the best. It has its issues. Vibrates. Sometimes you leave stuff on it. And again, sharp end mills. If you start to get a dull end mill and it starts even just making the slightest bit of chatter or noise, anything on the stand right here will start vibrating real bad. The whole stand starts vibrating. Again, yeah, sharp end mills and vibration. This machine is a sharp end mill loving machine. So know that from the get-go if you end up buying one of these. The fine feed on this, extremely smooth. I did a job, I think it was the last part of the series I did here, I went in and I had to cut a section of material out of a channel, and it was all done on the fine feed. And I mentioned in there that that's how I did it, but the fine feed works very, very well. You engage it here, and here's the fine feed, and the spindle lock, the quill lock, excuse me, is over here. So you just would unlock. You can turn this in and engage it, and then you can start turning this handle. Let me see if yeah, I'm not engaged quite all the way. There it is. So there's your fine feed, and it has its dro. It has a little digital dro right here. It's extremely accurate, and it works very, very well. So the fine feed is extremely smooth. When I first got this mill, the quill had some sticking issues. It would hang up, and again, I didn't like it, but it was a break-in thing. So basically what would happen, I would go to move the mill, you know, see how now, let me undo this a little bit. See how it goes back by itself? Smoothly. Well, it didn't do that when I first got it. It would stick. And it would stick hard. It was something I was a little worried about at first. Again, I never mentioned this to Precision Mathews. I didn't call them and bitch about it. It was what it was, but I also knew it would break in. Just keep going, just ignore it. And even though, God, I just can't get a deep breath. It's so short. Oh, and talking fast is a problem with this disease as well. So, anyways, now as you can see, it's smooth as glass all through the travel. It did exactly what I thought it would. I remember thinking that this wasn't going to break in nicely and fast because of how bad it was sticking. I mean, it would just stop and it would just sit there. You'd have to hit it with your hand to get it to return. And it's now broken nicely, and I actually don't even remember when it stopped sticking. Okay, because I just kept using it, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, it ain't sticking anymore. I have no idea when that stopped. I just wasn't paying attention to it. So anyways, overall, accuracy is dead on. When they say they're 100 thousandths per revolution, they mean to the thousands. Without a dro, I could trust the graduations on this mill to cut within a half a thou. I mean, you could turn a half a thousandths between lines, and you'd be pretty damn on. So these screws are really, really nice. The travel and movement of the tables is extremely smooth. You just don't realize how good these machines are until you start using them. But again, machines need to break in. They have bugs brand new out of the crate, and you need to expect that. There's not a lot to say about this mill. I literally wrote down these things, and we can hit them pretty hard. I can assure you the PM-30 is a fantastic mill machine, and it's capable of aerospace quality accuracy. No question in my mind. If you take the time to tune it in right, take your gibs out, stone them in, get all your high and low spots blended together, and get that. A lot of times on these machines, as you'll be traversing through an X or the Y or Z, you'll get tight and loose, tight and loose. And what that is the gibs and the dovetails having high and low spots in them. So when I stoned everything in and brought everything to me, not only did I get insanely better accuracy, but I can travel the table all the way on the X and Y, and I don't get it tight and loose spots. I get smooth all the way through. And again, when I go to lock the table, lock the gibs, I don't get a big movement on the dro from them rocking and the gibs move. You know, when the lock's pushing the gibs against the dovetail, it rocking and moving. I get minimal movement, and that's because I took the time to stone everything in correctly. My table's stoned beautifully. If I showed you a picture of that table with nothing on it, you'll see all the figure 8 stoning marks on it. Tables, no matter how well they appear to be surface ground, have high and low spots in them. You need to take stones to them. And this is the type, and you do it to your vise, you do it to the floor of the vise, you do it to the base of the vise, you do it to your table, do it to your gibs, and you'll get a machine that is insanely accurate. And that's how you do it. So overall, there was not a lot to say about the machine because it's been fantastic since day one, right out of the box. It had a couple little issues, like every machine does. We got past them very quickly. The machine has broke in very nicely. This machine in the last year, I do 95% lathe work in here. And over my career, it was the same thing. 95% of the time we were on lathes. Lots of milling work, but generally we see more lathe work. And then we move to the mill. A lot of lathe work ends up milling with mill work too. And then there's some things that are just nothing but mill or nothing but lathe. And so I don't have near the time on this machine. At one time, I don't even keep track of this like I do on the lathe. I keep track of my time on the lathe. I have a whole log book. Every time I'm on the lathe, I write my time in. On the mill here, I've never once even bothered because there's just no time on that mill. I was saying the last year, I think in one of my videos I said, I think it probably got maybe a few hundred hours on it. It isn't even that. I would say in the last year, and it's 1 year this month, 1 year in May, last May I bought it. I'm going to say, and I think I'm pushing it to say it's got 200 hours on it. I would almost bet I don't even have 200 hours on it. And if I do, it's not much more than 200. I just don't know. I just know that I'm not on that mill, nothing like I'm on the lathe here. So I don't keep track of it. And as you can see, I've never even taken the plastic off the front of it, off the control box there. And some of the stuff here, I never even cleaned off of it. I just left it covering it, you know, just helps keep surface rust off. And the plastic's still on it. So the mill looks like it's brand new because it is brand new. It doesn't have a lot of time on it. Fantastic mill machine. You can't go wrong. Precision Mathews PM-30. I love this little mill machine. I'm currently trying to work out getting a 932V from Precision Mathews. They had the mills in stock, but they didn't have the stands. So for what I understand, the stands are supposed to come in by the end of the month. So at the end of this month, there's a good chance I'm going to be letting this young man who has a deposit on the machine come and get this, and we're going to be putting the new mill in. I can't say 100% certainty it's going to happen at this point. A week ago, I would have said, yes, I'm moving forward. But we got to see what happens, what develops here over the next week or two with them getting the stands, and if they still got the machines in stock. We got to see how this plays out. But there's a chance we're going to have a bigger mill in here, or you're going to still be seeing this, because I have no issues with this little mill at this point. It's so accurate, I almost don't want to sell it because I know how good this machine is. So there you go, people. Precision Mathews PM-30, excellent little machine. I've had excellent results with this machine, and I'm in love with the machine. Fantastic. So there wasn't a whole lot to this review. So I hope you get something from it. If you have any questions, my email will be in the description. Just please email me. Ask me what you need to know. And I'm going to get this set up back here, finished zeroed in the way I want it. And I'm going to get this part 11 done on this series. I wanted to do that last week, but I've been busy and hasn't worked out. And I really want to get it up by the end of this week. So everybody, have a great day. Have a good rest of your work week. It is Wednesday. And I'm going to get busy in here, and I hope this gave you some information, some helpful information. Again, super high quality, super accuracy right there. Everybody, have a good week, and I'll see you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. I always forget to say certain things. I'm not great at this video stuff. But please like, share, and subscribe to my videos, and watch all my videos. And thank you very much. I'll talk to y'all later.